Danny Garcia says that he will return to action in September this year against either Errol Spence or Manny Pacquiao. Both are good fights, and they're quite similar fights, actually. Not necessarily stylistically, although they are both southpaws, but because they've both got question marks over them. Manny Pacquiao has been out the ring, I think it's at least a year now. The last fight he had was that tremendous win over Keith Thurman. But by the time September rolls around, he will have been out the ring pushing 2 years. And with Errol Spence, he's also been out the ring since, I think it was, let me check, September, was it last year? When he fought Sean Porter? Yeah, it was September last year. And of course, it will be a year by the time he's back in the ring. And also Errol Spence, of course, hasn't fought since that terrible car accident that he was in. So we don't really know where he's going to be at physically. And that puts a question mark over him. Also Manny Pacquiao's age, not just his inactivity, because at 40 plus years of age, you can get old overnight, as they say, as the cliche goes. So question marks over Spence and Manny Pacquiao. Danny Garcia, to his advantage, has fought this year against Ivan Redkach. Now, Redkach is a southpaw. I didn't actually see that fight, so I'll be interested to hear your take on it, you guys out there who did watch it, and let me know what you feel about Danny Garcia's performance there. If I can find a copy of it online, I will give it a watch myself. The fight went the distance, and the the judges' scorecards all had it wide in favor of Garcia. That doesn't necessarily mean the fight wasn't competitive. You know how it goes with boxing and politics. So I haven't seen it. Maybe the scorecards were correct. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. But other than Redkach, how many southpaws has Danny Garcia fought? Robert Guerrero was one. He did beat him, fairly convincingly, but Robert Guerrero gave him a good go. He fought Zab Judah. Judah, I think, gave Danny Garcia more problems than he should have given him. That was way back in 2013. So he hasn't fought a tremendous amount of southpaws in the past few years. So it'll be interesting to see how he deals with Manny Pacquiao or how he deals with Errol Spence. Now, if this was Errol Spence at his best, the Errol Spence who fought, let's say, Kell Brook, and even then you wasn't totally 100% at his best because he was fighting away from home, hostile crowd, unusual environment, so on and so forth. But still, that version of Errol Spence versus Danny Garcia, I would have to make Errol Spence the favorite there. But what kind of Errol Spence are we going to get by September? What kind of Errol Spence do we have now? We don't know. Danny Garcia versus Pacquiao, I think that favors Garcia. And I know I was very wrong picking Keith Thurman to beat Manny Pacquiao, but I would still probably pick Danny Garcia to beat Pacquiao. I'm not as confident picking Garcia to beat Pacquiao as it was Keith Thurman, and I was badly wrong in the Thurman fight. But I suspect that Danny Garcia will learn from Keith Thurman's mistakes, that trying to just bulldoze Manny Pacquiao is the wrong strategy. You have to box him. I think that he might look at the way Errol Spence boxed Mikey Garcia and take inspiration from that tactically. Okay? Against Pacquiao, I'm sure Danny Garcia has seen all the Marquez fights. He knows that Pacquiao can be countered. And I think that's what Danny Garcia should do and probably will do. Now, he doesn't have the counterpunching skills, at least not with the right hand, that Marquez had. But he is a good counterpuncher, Danny Garcia, as we've seen over the years. His punch of choice, his Sunday punch, is the left hook, and he throws it wide. I don't know how effective that can be against Manny Pacquiao, but he does have a decent right hand down the pipe when he decides to use it. And there have been a few fights where Danny Garcia fought on the back foot and was quite effective in doing so. Now, he fought some of the Keith Thurman fight on the back foot. And I'm trying to think of one fight in particular. Yeah, of course, the Matisse fight. He fought that on the back foot, and he was very, very effective against Matisse on the back foot. So Garcia has a back foot game. And in fact, he's more cumbersome when he comes forward, Danny Garcia. That's where he actually struggles a bit, But when he's on the back foot and you're coming at him, he's pretty effective at fighting that particular way. He doesn't have the quickest feet in the world, but again, when he's moving backwards, he tends to move and moving side to side, moving around the ring. He tends to move more quickly than he does when he's trying to come forwards. When he's trying to come forwards, he's a bit of a potted plant. He's easier to hit. He does have that dangerous left hook, but from a defensive point of view and from a counterpunching point of view, he's more vulnerable coming forward than he is on the back foot. So yeah, Danny Garcia versus Pacquiao is an easier fight to try and weigh up because we probably know more about what we're going to get with Pacquiao. He's a 40-odd-year-old man who would have had a year out of the ring by the time he fights Danny Garcia if it goes ahead in September against the Garcia who fought in January this year. You know? So I would slightly favor Danny Garcia to win that fight, probably on points. But the Errol Spence fight, I don't know. We just don't know what Errol Spence is going to be like with the layoff and coming back from the injury. Maybe he'll be terrible. You know, you can say that Errol Spence is back in training and looking as good as ever and all this kind of stuff, all these reports that come out of the gym, but we won't know until he gets in the ring. I know he apparently didn't break any bones. I think he knocked out his teeth. Well, I know he had his teeth knocked out from the car crash and what have you. But for example, whiplash is a common injury that people can get from being in car accidents. And whiplash cannot be diagnosed with a scan or anything like that. As far as I'm aware, this is how it used to be. This is why so many people can claim whiplash and get compensation from insurance companies because you can't disprove whiplash medically, as far as I'm aware. That's how it used to be. So people would just pretend they had whiplash, you know, and act like they had a real sore neck and they couldn't move. And I've had genuine whiplash, by the way. I didn't get it from a car accident. I bizarrely got whiplash in training. And it wasn't from getting hit. I was actually skipping or jumping rope, as they say in America, and I just turned my neck sharply and I had whiplash. And I was in a neck, I had a neck collar, neck brace, whatever you want to call it, for 2 weeks. It was absolute agony. But those kind of muscle injuries or tissue injuries, whatever whiplash actually is, those can endure, you know? And if you've been in a very, very serious accident like Errol Spence was in, you don't know what kind of effect that might have had on the muscles in his body, on the ligaments and all that kind of stuff. God knows. So yeah, we'll just have to wait and see when September rolls around if Errol Spence does get in the ring and fight either Danny Garcia or anybody else, where he's going to be at. But those are my provisional thoughts on Danny Garcia's announcement that he's coming back in September to face Spence or Pacquiao. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. It's happening. I'm out.